Hey, BassGeek here, and it's time for me to tell you the story of this year's BFL's tournaments 1 and 2 and let you know how things went crazy for me. What's up, geeks? I am out here in the Green Goblin, the new Camus CX20, doing a little fishing. Hey guys, I do want to give a huge shout out to my insurance company. They insure both of my boats. They literally are the best boat insurance company out there. You're not going to find better. They do things for me that I can't even list here. The list is so long, but you need to go talk to my guy Gabe at Boat Insurance Agency. The Boat Insurance Agency, that's all they do is boat insurance. No matter what kind of boat you have, they can cover it. Now, they really specialize in the newer boats, but they can get you any sort of policy you could possibly need or want to cover anything you do. Make sure you go check them out. There are links in the description. We'll put a link up here. Let's get to talking about T1 of the BFL Mountain Division this year. For you guys that don't know, this is my first year fishing the BFLs as a boater. You know, I've fished a lot of little, rodeos, team tournaments, that sort of stuff. So tournament number 1 is on Dale Hollow. It's early in March. Me and Jeremy actually took a day and went up there and pre-fished. I've fished Dale Hollow, but this is like pre-live scope sort of days. And guys, whether you like live scope or not, if you're gonna fish big tournaments, at least where I live, you better know how to use it and you better be proficient at it. Me and Jeremy went literally just to graph. We were going to graph, find schools of shad, because the key to doing this is finding these large schools of shad. So we went out, we looked, we graphed, and where I'm from, when you're finding that shad, when you're finding those bigger bass, you're fishing the lower end. So that's where we targeted. We literally graphed for probably 8 or 10 hours the first day. I don't know that we stood up and made 4 or 5 casts all day. And we failed to find anything, just to be honest with you. It was really disappointing. We went out the second day. We decided we were gonna go up the lake, but I was just so determined, so dead set to find these bass on the lower end. There was just a few other creeks that I had not fished yet. And so I ended up back down in that ultra clear water. Really, we wasted time. Here's a prime example of not listening to what we should have been doing. The first place we stopped at, we seen all kinds of shad. There were a ton of fish around. You gotta listen to the conditions. I wanted to force things, and that got me during pre-practice. What's up, geeks? I am here at the good old Sportsman's Lodge on Dale Hollow Lake with J-Man, and we're getting ready to go for day 1 of official practice, Stop 1 Mountain Division on the BFLs. So practice, so we got there 2 days, and generally what I do, it's a 4-hour trip for me. We get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, drive straight to the lake, me and the J-Man and my buddy Christian. Christian got there the night before. We woke him up at the ramp, and we were going to practice on day 1. Day 1 wasn't too bad. We had a little bit of wind, but it was a nice day, sunny day. I think it may have got up to like the 60s, so it was great. We went down the lake. We graphed so much down the lake that we run out like 40 plus gallons of gas. Ended up running out of gas at the end of the day. Had 2 creeks that I wanted to go check. And we ended up having to call Christian. Thank you, Mr. Nichols, for saving our butt. And he towed us back to the ramp. So that ended day 1. Day 2, we come back out and we had decided that was it. We're going up the lake. We're going to fish from the rivers up. The water was a little bit more stained. It was still pretty clear. I'd say 5-8 feet easy, but a little more stained than what it was, say, on the lower end for sure. The lower end was like ultra clear. We didn't have a lot of time. They were given a cold front coming in at about 10 o'clock. The wind was blowing out of the south. It was going to change to the north. It was blowing out of the southwest, and rain was going to start. And let me tell you, it did start, and it poured. And it burnt one of my cameras up. But we're finding fish. My mindset at that point is I'm going to look around and find as many schools as I can, because you don't know what draw you have. So from the rivers up is where we find our bass. We find quite a few schools of shad and quite a few bass chasing. And I feel pretty confident. Around 2 o'clock, you know, we're freezing. The temperature drops from 54 first thing in the morning to somewhere around about 34, 35 degrees that evening. So we decide we've found enough bass that we should be able to do this. So we go back to the hotel room, we warm up, and we wait to see who we've drawn. So I get my draw. I think I'm boat 47. So a pretty good draw, pretty early draw. Look at us, Big Jim.
BassGeek.
What's going on, guys?
How you doing? Good morning.
I'm doing all right, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Doing my thing.
All right. You got some waypoints you want to share with me? Because I need all of them I can get.
You don't want my waypoints.
Listen, I'll trade you mine for yours. We'll see what happens.
Hey, we know you caught them last week.
Yeah, see? You already been out here. You would tell you a synopsis of my days on the water.
What's that?
I put 36 gallons in this boat, graphed the lower end, never found the first shad, and then ran out of gas in Lilydale.
Oh, what's your co-angler's name?
Nicole Abrams.
Nicole, where are you from?
I'm from Indiana.
Awesome.
See, that's good. I'll just let you ask her the questions, and that way I just...
Yeah. Is this your first BFL as a co?
Me? Oh, no.
No.
You've been doing it
I've been doing this for 6 seasons. I do Toyota and mountain and music.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank
Catch
you.
them up.
Thank you.
What part of Indiana?
Central Indiana by Richmond?
Richmond.
So, see, I'll be asking her for waypoints.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a houseboat down here, so
See?
we fish here a lot.
BassGeek, you have a great day, man. I'll see you at the weigh-in.
Dude, I'm just going to go do what I do.
You better have a sack, because I'm going to be coming up to you with a camera.
Listen. I will have a sack. Whether there's anything in it will be the question. That will be the question.
Have a good morning. Be safe.
You too. Hey guys, make sure you go follow Big Jim on YouTube, by the way. You guys have seen him on there before. And so this is my co-angler today.
Hi.
Go ahead and reintroduce yourself if you
I'm
don't
Nicole
care.
Abrams from Indiana.
There you go, an Indiana girl.
Yeah.
Hoosier, right?
Yeah.
That's right, Hoosier.
Hoosiers won last night.
Well,
Right.
there you go, they won last night.
Let's hope the girls win today.
So today, the game plan. She lives on the lake, so the game plans go where she tells me. That's pretty much it. We're gonna be running some stuff that we found. I know in practice there wasn't much of a practice, guys. You know, we ran, we graphed, we marked. We ran, we graphed, we marked. But that's kind of the deal. These fish, to me, are still in a late winter pattern. You know, water temp says we sit here right now is 51.6. Which was actually dropped since the last time that I was on the lake 2 weeks ago. In the dirtier water around this marina, they were 52. In the clearer water, no, they were 54. In the clearer water, they were actually 51. So, you know, we were looking for something specific and we found it. Now we just have to go out there and make them bite. So, we'll see what happens. Anything you want to say? Anybody want to say hi to?
No, not really. I'm not used to being on.
You're fine. But, you know, guys, for me, the goal is it's really the regionals. So, to make the regionals, I almost have to catch 5 in this. We've got a shallow pattern, but I'm sure a lot of people are on the same pattern I'm on, because this is a lake I don't fish a lot. I come up here to fish this division because, well, to be honest with you, the schedule sets up for all the things I like to do, which I felt like gave me a good chance to come catch some. So now we got to go make that work. Let's go fishing. But my first BFL, and no offense to her, she was great. And that was probably what got in my head so much, is that she was actually a really good co-angler. That was mistake number one. Don't go look at your co-angler. I mean, for me, it got in my head. I was more worried about what she was going to think about if I sucked, you know, than fishing. You got to focus on the job. You just got to go fishing. You got to do the stuff that you do. You gotta be thinking about that, not what everybody thinks about you. And you know, that's tough for me. I've got 67,000 or so of you at this point. So I don't want to let you guys down. I don't want to suck in front of you guys, but that's fishing. And the thing about tournament fishing is it's as much a mental game as it is just going fishing, going out and catching fish. And that's probably the part that I need to learn the most. And that's just going to come from being out there and doing it. So mistake number two, I only got my forward-facing sonar June of last year, July maybe. So, and I didn't get a lot of time to get out and fish during the winter time. When you're fishing deeper and you're chasing moving fish, you know, traditionally what we've used is a 3/8 and a 1/2 ounce, and that just is not big enough when you're talking 55 feet. So an hour and a half into it, I was very frustrated. I just couldn't understand why I was making the wrong casts, why I wasn't getting these baits. I'd done it before. I didn't understand what was going on. And it was as simple as just changing the weight. But I was so stuck in my head and spinning out that I could not see the forest for the trees. So I pulled up, I told her we're moving. During practice the day before, we found a secondary pattern. We found a few pockets, had deep water access, the river channel run up against them. And they had a little flat or a little bit of grass in the back. They weren't very big pockets, they were pretty small. Mistake 3 and 4, Jerry is catching them on an Alabama rig with electric blue chartreuse. I thought I packed some, and I did not. When we get to the first spot, I can see them on my live scope. I've got followers following my bait out, but they're not committing to it. I sat down, and you guys that are co-anglers, man, you're gonna hate me for saying this. Understand, I've been a co-angler, okay? I would have hated me for saying this, but being on the other side, I totally understand what they mean. Because in this little area, I've got two things, grass on one side, a brush pile on the other. So as I sit down to paint some swim baits in the color that I need, I do not pull away from my fish. And my co-angler proceeds to catch 2 3-pounders out of my brush pile, which she didn't even know was there. She's just throwing a jig and making good decisions.
That's gonna keep.
I told you
This is my kind of fishing in here. Now you got a chicken, that's what I like.
When you know it's a small bite window as a boater and you have to make changes, you need to pull away from those areas. Give your co-angler a chance. But make sure you're protecting your fish. I know, as a co-angler, I hate that term, but it's how the game is played. So we proceed to make several more runs, and just to be honest with you, we find nothing. We go to a spot where she's local to that lake. So we go to a spot where she had brought up, you know, my co-angler, and we try to fish it. But at that point, literal waves are coming over the front. It's blowing so hard. So I decide, you know what? You know, I know what I did wrong. if I don't go back up there and check that spot, I'm gonna hate myself for it. So I go up, I check my spot where I started, I pull out a couple of different baits. JS2 Custom, I put it on a 3/4 ounce queen tackle head, and obviously I must have tied a really horrible knot because a huge dot come up and destroyed it. And of course, I break them off. Shout out to my buddy, the grub master, AJ. I pick up a grub, a Strike King, Rage Tail, and Pal, my only keeper of tournament number 1. I was just happy not to zero.
We got one. He has. Actually, yeah, he has. So feel the.
Yeah, but I'm at the last one, but they never told me they took it.
I'll show you something.
It had everything else. And they said it, yeah, I had all that, but I didn't have a ton. I had everything.
You put him in the live well?
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take it. It's not a zero.
I know.
I think I weighed in, I think that bass was is a spotted bass, fat little bass, 1 pound, 8 ounces. So, you know, is what it is. I learned a lot of lessons in T1. Now, let's move on to T2. You see that? You see that right there? That is not where you want day 1 of practice to begin.
Yeah. You can see my buddy J-Man. And you can see the old Triton.
So you can pretty much already guess we don't have the Camus. That's a whole different story. Now, the funniest part of this story may be the fact that we are in Knoxville, Tennessee. We're supposed to be in Byrdstown. And we are at a Firestone. So I just had a bunch of work done to my truck, about $1,200 worth, pads, all that stuff. Now, they did a great job. Shout out to my guys at Quality Car Care in Norton, Virginia. They're good guys. They do good work. But unfortunately, about halfway down, we started getting a check engine light, and the truck started acting funny, like it wouldn't really kick into gear and, you know, get it moving. So we took it to an Advance. We had it scanned. We must have found the only Advance that looked like it was built in, 1959. And the next thing we know, we are looking for the closest auto repair. So we think it's a sensor. We're gonna hopefully find out. And, we still got about 2 hours to get to the lake. So we don't know if practice on day 1 is gonna be us going 2 hours back home or 2 hours to the lake. We're in the holding pattern. All right, guys, we finally made it. Not in my truck, it's in the shop. And here we got J-Man right here. He's been with me all day through the perils of, this trip. Nichols is over here. He is getting ready to jump in the shower. Sorry, focusing on my hand. And so we hope the truck is in the shop getting fixed. Shout out to my dad and my uncle for helping us out today. And we've all had problems. Nichols run out of gas. Luckily, he didn't have to wait on us because we didn't make it to where he was running out of gas until probably about 7, 8 o'clock tonight. Then, you know, of course, shout out to Nichols for saving my rear end for running out of gas on the lake last week. So, yeah, this crew right here, we've had some problems, but let's go fishing. We hope that'll make it all better. What's up, geeks? Listen, this is tournament number 2, and I'm gonna tell you, you have seen it. You've seen the little short part, I'm sure, at the beginning. You see what happened to practice day 1. We practiced getting here. That was what practice consisted of. You know, stuff like that happens. I want to give a big shout out to my Uncle John, my dad, of course, and my bud J-Man over here, my co-angler Link. You know, I know I was frustrated yesterday, but it's only because, man, I'm happy to be out here today. I mean, as soon as I get to the water, all negatives are gone. And, you know, when your truck breaks down and things are going bad and you want to get to practice, and you guys seen the first video, I mean, you know, I spun out. I mean, that's the best way to put it. It was all me. It's 100% bad decision making, and tournaments are about making good decisions at the time. And, you know, I put a lot of stress on and pressure on myself to try and do good for you guys. And first BFL as a boater, I failed you. So we're going to try and do better, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is probably going to be a tough event. I've heard report after report that this lake is fishing super tough. We got some possibly dangerous conditions coming in. It's going to rain pretty much until, what, 11, 12 today. You know, good overcast, a little bit of wind. We're going to see, I think, 15, 20 miles today, and we're going to see maybe 20, 30 tomorrow. And it's going to be a little bit spooky out there tomorrow. So we're probably going to concentrate a whole lot on staying close by as the rain begins to come down. So, you know, stick with us. I'll give you a little more on the conditions of the day as we go. All right, guys, so we've made our first run. I'm going to tell you right now, with the wind conditions coming up tomorrow, we went down the lake a little bit. And again, my buddy J-Man, say hi, brother. Hey. So he's up here. We got some bait popping in the back of this creek. It's about 54-degree water temps back here, and it's dirtying up the farther we get back here. So he's throwing an A-rig. We're gonna be throwing some stuff. We might pick up a like a red eye shad, or you know, something like that here in just a minute. Some sort of lipless crankbait throw back here, because we got a nice little flat. You seen any grass out here? No real grass yet. But you can see what we've got is we've got a steep side over here, and we've got a flat side over here, and I'll guarantee you somewhere down through there's a little bit of grass. So what we're doing is we're coming back in this pocket on a good cloudy day. We're in this lake. There hasn't been a lot of rain. Of course, the only time it rains is when we show up. So, you know, so the water is super clear, and super clear from what I understand, almost all the way up the lake. So what we're doing, you know, what's it supposed to get up to, 70, 71 today? Yes. Yeah. So we're going to have, you know, it's going to be a lot warmer than it was last time. Last time we were out here, as you know, the buttons were froze on my graphs on tournament day. So all that being said, we are going to kind of work this pocket out. We're seeing bait. Now, one thing, you know, me and J-Man was just talking about was, you know, just because the bait's up in here, don't get stuck on it too hard, because it doesn't mean the bass are right there with them all the time. They can be, you know, just a little bit behind them, eating those tail enders coming into the pocket. So we're going to do a lot of things. We're going to check this out. We might throw some traps back here, because this watercolor is looking better and better the farther he takes us back up in here. Pre-front conditions, frontal conditions, we're right there on that front end edge. We've heard a little bit of thunder off in the distance, and we're gonna get to breaking this lake down. We got one day, we're gonna have to move fast. Let's go. All right, boys and girls, all you geeks out there, it is, what is that, right, 9:49? We put 3 in the boat. We've seen a ton in that 10 to 15 area. on some back, I guess, creek channel swings and points. You know, really secondary points. Seen a bunch, thrown an A-rig a lot. They're that 10 to 20 mark. If I had to say right now, we're probably going to run a bunch more of that. But we're also, it's practice. We got one day, we're going to run a bunch of other stuff too, kind of eliminate stuff. Right now, if I had to formulate a game plan, it would probably absolutely be to set my boat in about 15 foot of water on banks kind of like you're seeing right there, and throw little swimmers and grubs, and again, shout out to my grub boy, the grub man, AJ, and minnows, and pick them off, because they're lined up down some of these banks enough to where you're not just one here and one there, and you may be able to go down these banks and literally just throw something small at them and pick them off. We'll see if that works. I don't know how much of it we're going to get to do today, because we've got to cover a lot of water again, because, you know, practice day one was truck repair. We're practicing mechanical skills. Anything you want to throw in? I know you got your face shield on already. Silent but violent over here. All right. He's the one, he picked up the A-rig, bam, bam, right there. I mean, the man is, he's a good angler, so he's sure helping me figure things out. Hopefully we can put something together. All right, let's go for a ride. Tournament day is going to be some of the worst winds that I've ever been in. And I've been in some pretty bad wind. So they're giving 20 to 30 mile per hour sustained and 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts. I will say a lot of people were surprised that they didn't cancel it, but the BFLs, they make you sign a waiver. So if you die, it's not their fault, you cancel. That's just their deal. And you know, they can like that or not. You know, MLF, FLW did it too, so it ain't no different. You know, they'll send you, they don't care. They're making money off these things. Hence why the payouts suck so bad. So that's one thing I'll tell you. If you're getting into BFLs to make money, save up and go fish the Opens or the Toyota series. And you better be good to make money in those. All that being said, they don't cancel. We go practice. And I pretty much knew I had one day, so I went and checked spots from the last tournament. Found several good places. Did some shallow stuff, but the best shallow stuff turned out to be down the lake this time. And I knew, as bad as the winds were, and being that they were going to come out of the west, I wasn't going to be able to make that run. I wasn't going to chance making that run. Not in the old Triton. Now, if I had the Camus and was familiar with it, you know, yes. But the old Triton, she may not have made it. So I decided, I found bass, pretty much the same place I found the last time. And that was it. That's all I had. I had one day, I had maybe one spot, and it was either going to be hero zero, because I knew by about 10 or 11, that place was going to be blown out, and I was just going to go fishing up the river in dirty water, anything that was wind blown, anything that looked halfway decent, and I was going to take my chances. So I draw a boat like 74, another good boat draw, so I'm happy. I'm going straight to this place. Well, I get to my first spot, and there's about 5 boats on either side fishing the bank, and there's one boat out there fishing the middle. I come up there, sit down, start fishing. I mean, it is what it is. The only place I got. There's already enough people up there for it to be community hole anyway, so it wasn't like it was a secret. I go up there, I fish for about 2 hours, get 2 bites, can't put them in the boat, and the wind starts to blow. And I mean blow. I have never seen wind blow so hard that it picks entire rods and reels up off the boat and blows them into the water. I've never seen that. But gentlemen, let me tell you about the ride back. Props to the old Triton. It was not an easy ride. It was not a smooth ride. It was 21 mile per hour sustained winds out of the west. We had to make what should have been a 12-minute ride back, and it took us probably 35 minutes. I would say we were seeing solid 3 and 4, possibly 4 and 5 foot swells. Man, it was a beating. Should this tournament have been canceled? Yeah, probably. I mean, some guys will say no, some guys will say yeah. There was a whole lot of guys coming in with trolling motors broke, graphs broke, and you know, I talked to several of them. So it was, there's a lot of broke, beat up equipment, and you know, one guy in a Bass Cat basically sank his boat. I mean, he made a run to the dam, and you know, bravo to him for having the cojones to do that. I would not have. Even if I were in this boat right now, I would not have done that. Not in that wind. Unless I really knew I was on enough to win. Now, he had pretty good bag, but he speared 2 or 3 waves and his boat started taking on water. So he had to pretty much come in and call it a day. All that being said, we made it back safe, but we caught it a day. We were, again, check in 3:15. We did everything we could. We got there about 2:30. I had one more spot. My co-angler said, buddy, anytime you're after that ride, I mean, I wished I'd got video of that. He pretty much said, anytime you're ready to put it on the trailer, I am. And yeah, I was pretty ready. So I was done. I did all I could in that one. I zeroed. I did all I could. I feel like, to sum up these 2 tournaments, I feel like I've learned a lot. Depending on the schedule next year, I plan on fishing the Mountain Division again. I just think, again, I think it sets up well for me, and I think I've learned a lot. The first tournament, my second hole that I never went to as far as dropping on them, I seen a guy put out a video, he finished 4th. So he was on that spot. So, you know, I feel like I'm in the areas. I just need to be more mentally efficient. That's what I need. And maybe equipment efficient, because, you know, I feel like if we hadn't had such bad wind and it hadn't have pigeonholed me, I feel like I could have found stuff. I feel like I could have done well. You know, maybe not great, but at least put 5 in the boat. You know, I think once you get that sort of conditions, those sort of conditions on a lake you've been on less than fingers you have, I think it limits you and the guys that fish it a lot, which they're going to have an edge anyway, but they're going to have a much bigger edge because, yes, they know where those drop bass are, but they also know where there's some shallower bass or some protected areas that they can get bites in traditional manners. So that is BassGeek tournament story time. I am going to try to do better. I literally had 2 cameras burn up because of the rain. Had to replace those. I fell out of the boat, out of old Ruby, because I wasn't using my steps like I should be. You know, I preach how important those steps are. Can't wait to get them in from Boat Effects for the Camus here. Truly important because, man, I took a dive right over the side, cracked my heel, bruised up my shin real bad, broke 2 of J-Man's rods. That cost me, you know, $400 to get those replaced, which, shout out to Dwayne at Dixie Customs. That was 2 of his rods, and he hooked me up with a good deal. Dwayne's such a great guy. I've used a lot of Dwayne's rods in the past, guys. Make sure you check him out too, of course. You know, so I was able to replace his rods. So, you know, man, room, board, you know, gas, oil, because, you know, this boat does not use gas near as much as that one does. But yeah, you know, it's just been, that was a beat down. Tournament 2 was a straight up a beat down, earning my stripes. But hey, you know, we're on to Cumberland next. We're gonna have the Green Goblin here. She's going. That's going to be a really interesting tournament. The last time and the only time I've ever fished Cumberland, I had a real good time. We'll see what kind of happens there. All right, man. Hope you guys ain't too disappointed in what happened and how I did it. You know, we're gonna learn, we're gonna grind, we're gonna get better. But that is tournament story time from BassGeek. As always, like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Oh, questions, comments in the comment section below. I'll answer any of them. As always, you guys rock. I don't even know. Just talking about it depresses me. But I appreciate you guys. Like I said, you guys rock.